Same bunker gear. I got both sets down there in the closet.
Now this 37-280, is that top of the line gear?
That's top of the line gear.
And this 26-880, now how does it compare with this 37-280?
Not even close. Most of the time, this is a registered volunteer want to stay outside versus inside, structural firefighting gear.
So this 37-280 would be the gear that we would really need to look at, is that correct?
It would be, now, the MES, I got some gear coming in from them, to look at. Also, the fire line meets the spec too, which fire line is around 33,000, which we got a set of it to try out, where we're demoing now. So it's between fire line, NAFCO, and municipal, as far as what meets the specs.
We certainly want our firefighters to be in the best possible gear. I certainly do not want to put those guys out in these structures with less than.
Absolutely, these 16 sets are for the frontline guys that fight fire every day. That's the frontline guys. And our gear will be rotated down to the volunteers.
What was that third one you gave us? Fire line, NAFCO, what was that other one?
Municipal equipment. Which I've actually had a chance to sit down with NAFCO and municipal equipment. They both come in the office and sat down and spoke with me, and I got 2 sets, one from each of them, and it's the same set.
It's the same.
The same identical set, Janesville, ISO Drive.
Okay, so these from municipal, fire line, and NAFCO, these 3 here are what we should
That's right.
be looking at.
That's right. They top the line, if that's what the guys need to be and deserve to be in. The other ones are, less heat, less interior attack, things like that.
Well, the bid from the municipal equipment company for 16 sets of turnout gear, the total is $40,192. On fire line equipment, this is the same equipment that NAFCO's quoting you?
It's compatible to it. It's not the same gear. It's compatible.
Okay, it's top of the line gear, right?
From their line. Well, I'm saying, it's like Ford, Dodge, Chevrolet, from Fireline, this is their top of the line gear. Okay, municipal.
Is the rate the same?
No, there's actually a little bit of change, but that's the top of their line.
Okay.
But all of them fit our specs, right?
These 3 fit our specs.
And NAFCO is 37,280.
Now, on some of these, they won't need all the guys or have helmets. All the guys have new helmets, so there's going to be a little bit of price change. There's no sense of ordering like 16 Paul Conway traditional helmets. So there'll be a little bit of price difference on that. We put volunteers in a little bit different helmet than we do the paid fire.
Why?
Why? Because as far as the action and things like that, they don't see as much action as the full-timers. And they all meet NFPA specs with the cheaper helmet versus, buying the expensive helmet.
How much money are we talking about difference though?
Probably around $150 a helmet.
Well, would we want to put our volunteers in the same kind of equipment we put our frontline guys in? Because fire don't have no choice of what they do, what it does.
Not necessarily. Now, we'd be more glad to buy 16 Paul Conway traditional helmets, but feasible, it's not worth it. whenever them other helmets do the same job. And turnaround days, you know, are different on all of them. You're looking at 30 to 60 days on most of this, some of them 95 days.
What's the expected delivery date of this equipment from Fireline Incorporated?
Fire line.
My only concern would be, I know the volunteers, actually don't fight the number of fires that the people that are paid, but I would certainly want them to be protected equally as well as, you think about it, they doing it basically as a free gift, mostly to the county and the goodness of their heart and their concern for our county and all. If there's enough difference, as far as being totally and fully protected, Captain Salver, I mean, you feel that it's just a matter of a dollar,
It
a little
is.
less dollar difference, but the protection would certainly be there to,
Absolutely, because that's what they run in now.
I see, okay.
You know, the paid guys, are different helmets than the volunteers for identification and things like that.
Of course, I'll admit, I do not know a whole lot about that type of equipment at all.
There's no way that I would order something unsafe for the volunteers, by no means.
Right.
You know, it'd be the same quality as what we run now.
Okay. I'm satisfied.
You know, whenever it comes, you know, we talk about budget, things like that, you know, we're just trying to cut corners the way we can with the
Yeah.
same protection.
So this NAFCO quote here, $26,880, that's for a.
That's
lower-
base- that's
that is
low
a
grade.
Much lower grade.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put
You
our
can-
guys in that stuff.
You can see the, you know, the price difference, you know, as anything else buying.
What we been buying? Which equipment have we been buying?
I just sort of shop around on that end and buy from different vendors, you know, and try. I buy from Fireline, I buy from Municipal and NAFCO. That's my top three. These other ones that throw in bids, I don't even know where they're from.
Know nothing about this Fisher Safety.
Nothing.
How'd they get bid?
We sent them out, you know, y'all asked for bids and we sent them.
Well, Bennett must really be top of the line.
It's just a different brand, you know, you have Warner Pride, you have Globe, you have Janesville, things like that. We've had real good, dexterity and all out of Janesville. Not saying Globe's not good, but you know, you're looking at a lot more money.
Yeah.
Well, it seems we've got three bids here that meet the specifications of the fire department. And based on Captain Salter, it says that all three meet the specifications. And looking at the bids, Fireline Incorporated, $33,056 is the lowest price. I still have a question about those helmets. Just want to be sure that those helmets adequate to protect these people.
They couldn't sell me a helmet that wasn't NFPA compliant, which we run by on rules and regulations.
Right. If all of these meet the specifications, I make a recommendation that we call Fairline Incorporated, advise them that they have submitted the lowest bid of $33,056. And I want to know what a delivery date is on this. I want to know how soon they can be in here, to size our guys, and get this thing done, and turn this bunker gear around. We can be in here, put the service at the earliest possible date.
I'll call the vendor tomorrow. I'm on tomorrow.
Okay, have a second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
It's fire line, right?
Yes, ma'am. 33,056. And if you will, Captain Saul, when you talk to these folks and get a delivery date and get a time set up for them to come and size these guys, you advise the board so we'll know when they're coming and what the delivery date and all is on this.
Sure, I'll pass it on to Mr. McDonald.
Okay? Okay, so we move on with our agenda. Mr. Bryce Johnson.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. What I want to talk to you all about tonight is currently the solicitor's office is running with me and Jason Hoffman, who is our assistant solicitor. He's in the victim advocate slot as well. What I want to ask the board tonight is to authorize potentially a second assistant position. Now, I'm not going to ask the board for any appropriation on that. Basically, the reasoning behind it and how we look to compensate the person is this. Currently, Mr. Hoffman and I are handling misdemeanor prosecution in Worth, Tift, juvenile prosecution in Worth, Tift, Turner, and Irwin, the city of Nashville. We do some work in Cook County. And we have the potential for having a case where we have 3 or 4 courts going on at one time. And basically, we just want to cross-swear another attorney in all of those jurisdictions so that they can handle court for us or handle doing charging documents. We intend to pay the person out of our own personal funds and not with county funds. Basically, the reason I'm coming before you all for 2 reasons. Number one, since you're the governing authority of the county, we wanted you to know our intention, and also wanted you to have a say in authorizing the slot. But you know, like I say, we're not asking for any county expenditures. We just want the board to authorize the second slot so that we can go ahead and swear somebody in if we need somebody to cover court or to help us with paperwork. You know, I'll be glad to answer any questions y'all might have.
What does the judge say about this?
I'm not sure. We'll have to ask him.
What do you say you do in other places too? What do they say about it?
I haven't asked the other places yet, y'all first. Worth County's always first on my
We're
list.
special, okay. Now, Mr. Johnson, let me ask you this, you're talking about you're not going to ask for any expenditures.
That's right.
How is this assistant going to be paid?
Well, basically, I'll pay it out of my pocket. If it's a Worth County matter, what we envision is if the person helps us in Worth County, now we're talking maybe 1 or 2 hours a quarter. I mean, we're not talking about any sort of major work here. Maybe covering court for an afternoon, maybe 2 or 3 hours, and we would just come up with an hourly stipend that we would pay that person to handle things for us. And then if it were a Worth County matter,
Done right. We had a meeting last week, went out in an executive session, came back, the meeting was reopened, a motion was made, and the chairman seconded the motion, and the chairman voted. It was known that Billy McDonald was in the restroom. It was known to the chairman, and by the time Billy came back in, the meeting was over and adjourned. Mr. Chairman, you do not have the authority to second a motion or make a vote. And I'm going to read this from the county code. And if you don't understand something, just let me know. It's section 2-17, offices. Chairman, the chairman of the Board of Commissions is responsible for orderly conduct of the meeting. In order to fulfill this duty, the chairman must enforce the rules and conduct the meeting in a fair manner. The chairman may not introduce motions or seconds while presiding, except the chairman can and may introduce a motion or second the motion to go into executive session. Now that's pretty plain and simple in my book. If there's something you don't understand, just please ask. The rules are the rules, and we live by them. And nothing should have happened on that motion. Mr. Gaines, I'm really surprised. You shouldn't have hired them 2 people because you've been around and you know it's illegal for the chairman to make a motion and to vote on something. So, I'm very disgruntled with that. I don't like what I'm doing here. I don't like even being up here. But I'm not going to see the people of Worth County walked over. It's very simple. This is the Worth County code. This is what we go by. So the job of the chairman is spelled out very simply.
I'm going to refer this to our attorney. I would believe he was present at that.
No, he didn't come back after the executive session.
I was not there during this time. The statute says, our code says that if it's not otherwise prescribed, Robert's Rules of Order will govern our meetings. And he just read from Robert's Rules of Order, the statement that the gentleman just read. There is no general law, going back to understand county government law. When it was originated, most of it was done by individual counties for a charter from the state legislature. And in the early days, counties didn't have a county commission. They were first governed by an ordinary, who was the executive, who was the legislative. Everything was just run by one person called an ordinary. Then as time passed and as government got more complex with increasing population, the legislature changed and created county commissions. So it took more time. And creating those county commissions, every one of them was done on an ad hoc basis. It was not a general law that dealt with all counties. And the law was varied very much from county to county. That's what the governing law was. In more recent years, the legislature has quit generally legislating by county and made general law, which applies to all counties. But
legislation says that unless a local law provides otherwise. Well, our first major charter, this was in 1894, it's been amended about 10 times since then. Our charter itself from the state legislature, nor our general state law, provides an answer to that question, Mr. Chairman. The only thing that our charter provides is that if it's not otherwise provided by charter or general law, that Robert's Rules of Order will govern the conduct of our meetings. And it does not, the charter law or the general state law, except for the implication of Robert's Rules of Order, which you just read. And that would apply in this case. Robert's Rules of Order, because it's not otherwise specified in the general law or the special charter law.
Well, there are probably a lot of these.
Variations among counties, and of course, you can amend your charter, so to speak, at any time in the legislature. In other words, the legislative delegation of the commissioners a different rule. They can make one through the legislature, or they can adopt one that's not in conflict with general law themselves, and make a code of ordinances. That's what we're relying on right now, is what the code of ordinances say. It does not say how the meeting must be done. It just says unless there's some other special law that Robert's Rules of Order will govern. But which you can have it changed anytime that you choose to, either by supermajority vote of this board or local amendment in the state legislature. That is the correct rule, as I say.
Okay, next thing I have, you know, I believe in giving credit to people when they do a good job. You know, I believe in when it's not such a good job and somebody takes credit for something, that it ought to be known too that it wasn't the person that took the credit, it wasn't his right to take that credit. And I think that's the same thing that happened in the case in Sumner when the fire station opened. Mr. Chairman, you told everybody you opened up a station, you're going to open more, but people didn't know how you fought this because you fought it from the beginning. You did not want to open up any stations.
The reason I didn't want to open those stations is because we did not have the money to do it. And I supported Sumner.
Yeah.
I supported Sumner. We talked to the mayor. We talked to Mayor Long. I supported it. I'm the one that made the recommendation that we move at least one firefighter from each shift out there, and then we put a truck out there, and that truck went to Isabella.
Yes.
And that station has been manned since the first day it opened. And it was manned under a recommendation by me, and it was voted on by this board.
And there was things going around. Number one, it was said by you that you were not going to honor a contract that was in before you were in. And from just things that were put out, and was put out that was all around, that you were forced into this because you were going to get sued by Sumner. And
Mr. Shabbat,
and
Mr. Shabbat, this board does not have time to sit here tonight and listen to you make all these charges against this board. And I would appreciate it if you just sit down and, because we're not going to sit here and listen to stuff that's been voted on by
I'll
this
sit
board.
down after one thing.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman. In his earlier statement, the fire truck didn't come from Isabella. And Scooterville no longer has a fire department. And Scooterville is further away from headquarters in Warwick, any place you go to. Exception on the southwest corner down around the Bridgebury area and back down in there, because I live in the far corner of the southeast. And I know the speed I drive and how long it takes for me to get to town. And it's just a shame. I was in the hospital undergoing 3 surgeries when that happening was done. But, all right, you know, what goes around come around. It's not right for that fire truck to be taken out of Scooterville down there. I've been on this county board somewhere 20, 22 or 3 years. If the people knew how long and how hard I worked to get a decent fire truck in an area that needed it just as bad or worse than most other areas, and for that to happen, I can't tell you. And Mr. Cosby, the chairman, I refer to you. You had made a comment to me during the time of the election and all that Summer had been warned, don't y'all build that station. You may not get that fire truck. Now, what he's talking about a lawsuit, yeah, the mayor come up here from Summer, made me out a liar. Anybody that knows me in this county knows that I'm a truthful, responsible person. I did not promise anything to Summer. I can't promise anything to anyone. I'm one and one vote up here. That's all I have. But then, when it was turned around and the fire truck Scooterville wound up there at Summer, that's the straw that broke this camel's back.
I believe.
And I'll go a little bit further. I probably would have voted for a tax increase had that not happened. But if the county has got money to give furnished fire and truck to a city that's incorporated, can levy taxes just like the county can, get their share of the 1% monies that are provided. If we got that kind of money, in my opinion, we don't have no money problem here with Woodward County. We apparently got plenty of money.
Let's go.
Mr. Chair, I need to make a correction to Mr. McDonald, because he might not have been in here. Mr. McDonald.
Yes, ma'am.
The Isabella fire truck, by motion of this board, and I made it, did go to Summer. Now, the change out was later when there was something about the cab on Isabella's versus what was down there. But when they had their grand opening and everything, the Isabella fire truck was in Summer.
Yes, ma'am. I was aware of that. But as I stated, we can live with it. Maybe a group of us up here saying we don't need to pay as many taxes because we got no fire service. Period.
Mr. Chairman, suggested the purpose of allowing citizens to present their grievances is to let them speak, not to get a debate between various members of this panel and people from the audience. They present their complaints, their grievances, or whatever they may be, and they sit down. Then the board may discuss among themselves and conduct in the county's business whatever they wish to. And they can agree with the speaker or they can disagree with them. But there's no proper conduct of meeting conducted by the board in the way we do this. Let the speaker present his grievances or and finish. Then sit down. Then this board among itself can discuss and do its business that may be influenced by it or may not be. So let the speaker finish his presentation and sit down, and then you all discuss whatever you will about his presentation.
Okay, I only have one more last thing, and I knew this for the last several meetings already. And the gear that we were talking about, the order that was said not to be put in, from what I found out and checking, and it came from several different ways. And Mr. Chairman, you were the one that put it down to say, hold the order.
No, sir, I did not. And the
Okay.
person that said it is certainly telling a untruth, because I did not tell anybody to cancel that order. This whole board told Captain Salter to get proposals, bring them back to the board, just like these came back right here. I didn't tell him to cancel it, and I'm not aware of anybody on this board that told him to cancel it.
Again, Mr. Chairman, I make my recommendation that this dialogue will not go on. Let the speaker finish it. If you choose to spend an hour answering him publicly, fine, but not just back and forth. That's not conducting county business. That's just an argument.
Well, Mr. Miller, I'm not going to be accused of something that I did not do.
Well, let him finish his accusations and respond to them all at one time.
Okay?
And
Let him finish and then sit down.
That's really all I got to say right now. And we'll just go on from here. Thank you.
In the conduct of your business, you may choose to discuss it, you may choose to address your fellow members or the audience in any manner you see fit. Now you're doing county business at this moment. Sir, you're free to make whatever response you choose to, or ask your fellow commissioners to make any, or discuss it among yourselves, or to go to your next item on the agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Clarence. Does anybody wish to comment on this?
Mr. Chairman, the only comment I have, and I think Mr. Miller made it, before the meeting when this issue came up, is that I don't know whether the fair way to find out, who's telling the truth and who's lying. I know that I wasn't responsible, and I'm willing to take a polygraph test. I hate to say that word, but to me, it seems like the fair issue here would be the outcome is for those in question to take one. I mean, I hate to say that, but before this board and we're all you audience here, I mean, I'm willing to clear my name, and if that's what it takes, I'm willing to, and that's all I have to say.
I agree with you 100%, Mr. Mack. I know I didn't say it.
Mr. Chairman, can I have all this coming up under me? It's on the agenda.
Okay. Mr. David May? Mr. May is not. Okay, as we proceed, CDBG grant contracts need to be approved for Bob Robinson and Associates. I know you, Mr. Miller, had a question about compensation, and a new page has been put in to correct that, which shows 6% of the amount grant.
Yes, sir, I thought you just need to have it definite when it was
Right.
and somewhat indefinite, unspecified.
Yeah, it's not on there. I called Bob Robinson and Associates, and they said it was a standard 6%, but they would send us a minute page, which they did. And also approving the Stevenson Employment Engineering, the survey and engineering consultant for the George Road project.
I haven't seen that. This is the only one I've got, one of Mr. Miller. I copied it the last meeting.
That's the one I'm going to change.
The other one was the agreement for professional services. We
Right.
approved one, subject to my advice on it.
Right.
And the other one did not get voted on last time.
Yeah, it came in, corrections came in, and I gave it to the clerk. It's on page 3, item B. It says that application approved and funding client will pay the consultant the amount specified in the grant for administrative services, which is 6% of the grant amount, or $30,000. And that's the only change on that grant.
Yes, sir, I want to put it in the contract rather than a reference to another document.
Right.
You have to go get another document to find out, and I want to put it in that contract. That was basically our recommendation. Now, the other contract, which is not yet approved, was for the other contract. We had one for two kinds of professional services, one for the administration grant and one for the engineering services. And the administration grant, I think, was approved. And the
Right.
The second.
Yeah. And that's with Stevenson Palm Engineering, and it's open to Bob Robinson Associates as grant administrators.
That's good.
I don't have the one on,
Robertson Associates, I think,
that's the one I have, the one we would get. But I don't have the other. The engineering company, I do not have that.
You don't have this one here.
May I see that one there, that you just added us back, so I can be sure which one that I looked at. But this is the one that I looked at. This is the one you looked at.
Well, we didn't approve it. We were going to approve it, and then, some of the commissioners had questions, and we didn't go on and approve it.
You know, it needed to be reviewed by you.
Well, it was set by you, but this is the one you all
And this is,
considered last meeting.
we
This
didn't,
one was last, this one was handed out in executive session, and was not considered open session. I don't know what you got, but I saw that one in open session.
that's the one for Bob Robinson you have right there.
Yes, sir, this is one you had.
Right.
And that's when I got a copy of it, but you all did not discuss it in open session. As far as approving or not approving.
Right, we didn't approve it, we
The
just,
other one was what you conditionally approved, subject to the attorney's evaluation.
right.
This one that was voted on now was not discussed in open session, it was handed out in executive session. Isn't that right, Madam Clerk?
This is the one that she gave us last meeting.
Executive session.
This is the one.
Has to be in the open meeting for contingency on the attorney's.
We had this one in the open meeting last time.
Yes, ma'am, that's right.
And I must have been asleep, because I sure don't have a copy, and I don't remember it, and it's not in the minutes. On the approval of those minutes, it's not on there. This was on there.
vote on
We didn't vote on it.
It was approved, Councilman Toles, and it was approved. Based on.
Right,
All he is didn't vote.
Right, all we had to do was review it and approve it. And,
Y'all better read your minutes, because that ain't what the minutes says.
What does it identify the party we're going to be approving is in the minutes?
Bob Robinson.
What minutes, I don't know.
this is Stephen Palmer.
Well, that's the one that I saw.
Yeah. Sorry, no. Some years of copy, I'm going to read it right here.
This is Chairman Cosby statement, my contract is to be reviewed by the attorney. He added that there is a signature sheet that the attorney must sign, and he has reviewed the contract. Attorney Miller stated that the contract can be approved today, subject to his review. Based on his review, it can be retro back to approval. Commissioner Bozeman questioned why the board will approve some contract when the county doesn't have any money in hand. Chairman Cosby stated that the contract will not be signed until after the county has the money. Attorney Miller stated that each commissioner needs a copy of the contract for review prior to the approval. He added the board should wait on approval until each member has had a chance to review the contract.
That's exactly right.
Chairman Cosby asked county clerk to make copies of the contract for each board.
That was done. And open session.
And this is your,
Yes, I signed.
you signed one for Bob Robertson, but you didn't sign one for me. I don't think, I don't have it here with me.
No, that's not correct. What I had was a text in short form. This one is a long form, and that's the reason I can remember so well. This one's on legal size paper, the other one on short size paper. What I clearly did up in my office was the short contract we just attached to.
This is the short
And
contract.
that's the one I signed.
Right.
I didn't sign anything on this one.
I didn't have signatures.
If somebody took it off and put it on. The clerk person picked that up in my office.
Right, that's the one you signed.
And it was attached to the short form, which you're looking at right there. I don't think somebody retyped it. It was surely attached to the short form. The short form is the one that was amended, was it not?
No, the long form is one that's amended.
Okay, all right. Maybe this vote is correct.
This is the only one we got, Mr. Miller.
I know I saw that one, and I know the clerk wrote it in my office and picked it up after I signed it.
All I know is this has got to be approved and back in over by the 6th. And, we need a attorney's signature and all on that. So we can take care of this.
They carelessness in which one I signed, what it was attached to. And I just said, it said attorney certificate. After I got through reading it and made the recommendation, then I signed it without noticing which one the contracts were referred to. But I know what it was attached to. And this one, I have not yet done. I will do it before the meeting's over. So when the clerk brought me one, I assumed it was one of y'all approved. That's when I got the first thing. That's right. Look at the problem. And I'll take care of this for you in sessions over.
Okay, all right. Okay, the next is discussion about the availability of funds to remove the carpet, the second floor, and replace it with tile.
Do we have a place in our back?
You, there's an attachment,
Yellow?
yeah, yellow tag. I spoke with Chief Finance Director, Mr. Byrne, and she gave me the numbers from SPOS 3 that are available, that can be used. And behind each one, I've got several quotes from different individuals that can do the job in its entirety. Minus a few supplies that we will need to get it done. You have one from Kivo McDonald, Sellers Tile, Carpet World, and Lowe's.
All right, Lowe's is product, right? Or is it for the installation?
That's the installation.
How much is the product?
If you look at the bottom, we already have supplies we purchased at the start of the first project, which was for #1.
You got a question? You mean we got enough time left over, Ed?
We got enough tile. I bought enough
Left over.
both floors. When I purchased the first time, I purchased enough for both floors.
I know, and you know why you did it? It's because when Kibo measured, he measured both floors.
That's correct.
So why didn't he just go on and finish?
Well, I was instructed to get us, for the last meeting, when we discussed this, to get quotes and follow up through the same process that we did for the first one.
That don't even make sense.
The second floor was not originally considered at all until the last meeting.
Both floors was measured. We did this last year, year before last, I think we did. And Kibo's price was in there, and somebody else. I don't even remember who it was.
I've never heard of it.
Mr. Chairman, I'm gonna make a suggestion here. I'm probably gonna make a motion. We need this material before we get to the meetings. When I came down here Tuesday morning, this should have been in my packet, so I could have looked over. And every commissioner up here should have this. I mean, this is getting old, that we come up here and we look like a bunch of dunces up here flipping through all this paper because we didn't see it. And I fixed to make a motion that I want my agenda, if our meeting on Thursday night, I want my agenda on Monday afternoon. If our meeting's on Tuesday morning, I want it on Friday afternoon. And I'm making that form of motion.
I agree with you. Information ought to be, like I said, I got my packet today.
I'll second that.
This is getting embarrassing up here.
I'm in favor of Ms. Bozeman's motion. All opposed? Mr. Whitby, I think that all this information should be in the hands of the public long before the day of the meeting. So, a lot of this I don't even see until the day of the meeting. And I think it's very unprofessional on the part of this board to have to receive this stuff on the day of the board meeting. We're trying to see what is actually going on. I think one thing we need to do, I understand other counties put all their material in their book and it's made available to their board members at least a week ahead of time so that they can get the stuff that's on the agenda and have it looked over and be totally complete familiar with what's going on at the next meeting. I think we need to look at rearranging what we've got other than just photos. I think we need to look at something that can keep this material in order, to where everything is where all we got to do is open the book and go to a tab, and there's what we've got. And we probably have enough notebooks up here to where we can keep all this compiled. And I agree with Ms. Bozeman. This stuff, our agenda closes on 72 hours before. There's no reason why we can't have all this in our hands, where each one of us can have it and see it. And I agree with Ms. Bozeman.
I agree, sir. Duly noted that any changes after the closing date will not be on the original agenda without amendment. So if I receive something from the board or a guest speaker, it would have to always be amended. That's not a problem.
Well, I think our guest speakers need to be closed out on the 72-hour rule. Of course, there's agenda items that do come up that involve county business that probably do need to be added, or in some cases it needs to be taken off the agenda because of circumstances.
Correct.
But all of this material that needs to be packaged in a notebook and made available to each board member at least 72 hours before the meeting. That's what you, Ms. Bozeman.
I mean, that's fine. I'm just getting tired of coming up here and we get all this stuff in our meeting and we haven't had a chance to go over this stuff. I mean, you know, if I got any questions, I want to be able to ask them before I get in here so that we can move on with our meeting.
You have a comment, Mr. Chairman?
So what we need to do, Mr. Chairman, is we need to table this right here till the commissioners can look at all this. I will make a motion that we table it, because there is figures and numbers there. I will make a motion that we table it.
Is there a second?
I'm tabling this, removing the carpet from the second floor and replacing it with tile, because when you look at these proposals here, there's no square footage and all this kind of stuff, and I mean, I gotta look at this stuff. I can't sit up here tonight and look at it and make a sensible thing when we didn't go on with Kibo putting it down, and that's why there was so much time order to start off with.
Mr. Chairman, inquired on the order, the last motion, I didn't hear the chair rule on what happened.
It was a,
I know, the vote, I heard two
it was
votes.
two
that's all I
votes.
heard.
I did hear a vote from Mr. James.
Well, the chair would announce the result of the vote.
Okay. It was two votes for, and two commissioners did not vote. Vote in favor? Okay.
No further agenda. Get it on Monday afternoon, when we have a meeting on Thursday night, and to get it on Friday, when we have a meeting on Tuesday.
Right, well, Mr. Gaines voted affirmative then.
Right.
And that was the motion carries.
So you vote.
So the clerk must know. Here's this other,
Okay.
here's this other contract.
Use this thing.
Approval on it, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, my next motion is to table this thing on this floor until we can go over this stuff.
I think at this point in time,
Or let keep on and finish it up. I mean, you're not, from what I'm seeing in figures here, you're not talking about a lot of stuff anyway. And these others have got, if you got both, then I got to do this. Keep on knows what's down.
Let's just proceed with people.
I'll make a motion that we proceed with keep up. Because you got one here with 49.96, and he says, if the subfloor wouldn't require the backer board, please add 2218.
Maybe we headed the right direction, but you need to go back and draw before we form a motion. Yeah, over the motion.
I'll withdraw
The motion to.
the motion on the SPOS, and I will repeat my motion that we continue on our SPOS monies to let Tebow finish up the project he started.
Right.
we have a second. Okay. All in favor? Motion passes. That was four for, is that correct? Might change something. We need to go back to item 1 on this CDBG contracts. Mr. Miller has signed the approval on Bob Robertson, and he signed the approval on Stephen Pollard. And we need to get those approved so we can get those necessary documents in the mail back to Mr. Robertson so we can properly file those papers with the Department of Community Affairs.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the CDB grant contract for Robinson and Associates as the grant administrator, Stevenson and Palmer engineer as our survey and engineer consultant for the Georgia projects.
Okay, I hear a second.
Second.
All in favor? Okay.
Mr. Chairman, while we're talking about this grant, I got a question.
Okay.
Is there matching money that's got to go with this grant?
there is money 17, I believe it's $17,000, I believe, and some change. Cash. And then we're going to do the construction. Public Works will do the construction.
Mr. Chairman, probably appropriate to have a copy of the grant distributed to all the county commissioners, so that they have all the details.
You know, I don't believe we've got a copy of it. I signed about 3 or 4 or 5 of those deals.
Get up over that, get them in your office, pronto.
Because I signed so many things, I signed the same number on about 6 copies of it. But I will contact Bob and have him send a copy of it. Right.
Tell Bob he needs to start to furnish all the commissioners.
Well, that's good too. You get paid for that.
Okay, on the next item, got a letter from Oxford Construction Company that wanted the board to reimburse them $2,188. This $2,188 is their cost of performance and payment bond for Meadows Road. Since we have not started construction on Meadows Road, I don't see where we're going to be able to start any construction on that road. In fact, I believe we voted to remove that road from the construction considerations. I think we need to reimburse Oxford for this. Do I hear any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I don't remember no vote to remove it. I know that there were some questions about, because this contract was let back in November or December, and there were some questions about moving that money from there to Carlton Road. But I don't remember a vote on it. But I got my minutes, I'll go back and check and see.
I do know that we did vote on that, and Mr. Miller pointed out to us that since Carlton Road construction project was going to be in excess of $100,000, we had to get a bid on that.
Yes,
Which I believe that is going into the paper next week. Is that correct? Bill?
Because I'm gonna tell you something, man. Somebody better be looking at these monies. We got $640,848.94 for the LMIG roads. There is not enough money to do all this resurfacing and to do this road too. And some of the resurfacing that's been advertised is in the restriping, and the state ain't gonna pay for restriping and for resurfacing.
Well, I have talked to John about the restriping with those roads are going to be overlaid. He was going to speak with the contractor about holding off on restriping those roads that are going to be overlaid.
Can I say something?
Yes, sir.
Didn't Mr. Matthew M. an engineer, quoted me one time, told me that if it's gonna be resurfaced or overlaid within 3 years, you have to try it. 5 years. That time today, and then, striping the road, it'll be overlaid or resurfaced,
We do have $640,000 set aside for that research and all those. three roads with Chris, Nancy, and part of Spring Flats. And part of that project there is also going to the project.
You don't have enough, if you advertise 5 miles in the paper to resurface, it's $100,000 a mile to resurface. And you don't have enough money, because you're talking about over 500,000, you only got $640,848, and in 1%, you got 180,000. So you don't have enough money there to do both of them.
Well, part of this project here was that we do the construction on Carlton Road, which we're engaged in right now.
It don't matter. Mr. Cosby, it don't matter, they still charge so much for paving.
I realize that.
And it's and I can't remember that figure, but it's $340-something thousand down there on Carlson Road. And that's what I'm saying, we don't have enough money to do all this restriping and to do Carlson Road.
Well, we just may have to review all this stuff.
Good idea.
I recommend tabling this option construction company reimbursement of purchase cost till we can look at the minutes. Motion.
I'll make a motion that we table this until we can have a workshop on this road and get this stuff straightened out here.
You have a second? All in favor?
Mr. Chairman,
Sir?
that connection, unless you reinstate the contract, I think we'd already awarded the contract in strong. So maybe we can still at a later date, but you might have to pay it. Whether you do the contract with them.
Mr. Miller, I gotta look at my minutes. I don't think that contract was withdrawn.
Well, no,
I think it was the question of, will they swap that for Carlton Road?
I agree with you, and I agree with what you say. However, whether we voted to abandon it or not does not matter. We're not proceeding with it.
Right, I understand what you're saying.
Because we're not proceeding with it, then their money was spent in vain.
What if they make us pursue?
Could be a different question.
Right. Right.
But I assume since they asked for a reimbursement, that they have waived their right to demand specific performance contract. But that bridge should be crossed, but to die as cast for it, never get around to it.
Next item is approval of the resolution of setting the millage rate calendar year 2014 at 15.50 mills for Worth County School District. Do I hear a motion?
My agenda's got that on. I got it right here. I'll make a motion that we approve the millage rate for the Board of Education at 15.50 mills for calendar year 2014.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
You may wish to announce, Mr. Chairman, that's mandatory on this road. Right. You don't have a choice.
Right. So that's decreased. So you can go move forward with getting the tax bills out. And the last item is just an information item there. Central purchasing.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman. There was another item added after number 4 on the old business, new hire employees and rate of pay.
I have all the agenda I should have.
No, I did that up there. That was
That's
added.
correct, Ms. Brown, you did have.
Mr. Chairman, I got a question on this new hire employees and the rate of pay. On this motion that you and Mr. Gaines took care of at the last meeting, I would not second the motion, and the motion should have died on the table, but it did. But anyway, y'all hired these people and brought them in here, and you pay one of them $8-something an hour, and you pay the other one $13.50 an hour. Number one, is illegal. So my suggestion is that you and Mr. Gaines pay these people that y'all have hired, and let's just drop all this stuff, let them go back, and we start all over again and advertise this stuff like it's supposed to be done.
Well, we hired temporary people anyway.
There's no ad in the paper this week.
That is correct. They were hired as temporary. We did that under the pretense that you said, because at the time last year, the time period had elapsed and that we needed to re-advertise.
And it ain't.
And when I went back and looked at previous hires, we hired people at E911 with long ads. We hired people at the fire department with long periods of ads. So why is this hiring different from the rest of those?
Mr. Gaines, let me explain something to you on your 911 now and your fire department. That's the way it is. They did the interviews, and the ads were closed, and then our meetings was not striking just time they finished the interviews. And that's just the way it is. And they were put on the agenda to be hired. But what I'm saying is, you have got to advertise these jobs, and you've got to advertise. The Commissioner's Handbook says a minimum of 10 days. Everybody else says 14 days, which is actually 14 days when you count the 2 weeks. But what I'm saying too is, we've got 2 employees that's been hired illegally.
What's illegal?
It's by the chairman doing deception of the board because he did not give Mr. McDonald time to get back in the board meeting. And he cannot second a motion. Mr. Shabbat just went through that. Mr. Miller just went through that earlier.
We did not know if Mr. McDonald had left the floor when he left.
Yes, sir, we did know too. Mr. McDonald told us when we were coming out of executive session, I got to go by the restroom. And I told you that he was in the restroom. Yes, sir.
Point of order. Before executive session ended, Attorney Miller was in there. I hope these words are all right. I made a comment, I've gone forward like go, it's fixing to wet the floor. And he reminded me that my pants was between the floor and that. Am I right, Mr. Miller?
That's correct.
I recall making that remark, yes, sir.
You gotta go, you gotta go. Now, one of you knew that I said I got to go. I mean, truth's the truth, folks. You don't get around it. And you can't sit here and say you didn't know, because you did know. I don't mean to be rude and ugly. But
Well, these people are hired as.
right is right.
These people are hired as temporary. And if there's other people that are brought in under the new advertisement that meet other qualifications, these temporaries will they be replaced.
Well, I got another question for you, Mr. Cosby. Is it fair to bring somebody in at $8 an hour? We got people out there making $7.76. No, it's not fair.
Mr. Bolton, I'm not going to argue with you about bringing people in at a given rate. The pothole patches supervisor was brought in at $13.50 an hour. You're not going to get anybody out there as a supervisor or lead person less than that.
How much is the one that we got? Like,
Maybe the one we got $13.50 $13.50.
The one, the pocket patch we got out there now, make it $13.50.
The supervisor, the lead guy,
You talking about,
the one we hired, so-called illegal.
y'all hired a supervisor.
He's the team leader.
It gets worse. John,
It get worse if I advertise as that in the paper.
when, Mr. Gaines, when I asked you that in executive session, you said minutes ago.
In its hours, it still was advertised. It was advertised as that description.
Back in March, and we gonna hire him.
Well,
August,
just-
September.
It's just like Mr. Gaines said, there were firefighters hired, that were interviewed back in November, and they were hired in March. And that is 5 months. What's the difference?
If you're so darn set on public work getting employees, we'll re-advertise the position.
I'm not-
I don't have a problem with re-advertising the position.
I'm not gonna
But
sit here and
everything
argue
that
with you,
goes
Mr.
around
Gaines,
here,
but right, wrong.
Everything that goes on in certain departments, if it's not to your satisfaction, then you're gonna raise sand about it.
No, that's not true.
It is
That is
so.
not true. That's
Come to
true.
order.
It's absolutely true. Mr. Chairman, if that's your wish, we'll re-advertise. These people will go back through an interview, and if they're sustained, they're sustained. So,
I agree with you, Mr. Gaines.
If you're gonna hire a supervisor, you need to bring that interview before the total vote.
Ms. Whitby, you have that ad ready to go back in the paper?
That would be under HR, Ms. King.
appreciate it. We'll get that ready.
Is that ad ready to go back in the paper? Mr.
No, she had to give us some.
Okay. We'll get that ad ready to go back in the paper. And, it should go in the paper next week. Okay, central purchasing, that's just information sheet. Fully aware of what's going on with central purchasing and pricing and so forth. Okay, as we proceed to the commissioners' agenda.
Mr. Chairman, before we go into the issue, I'll make a motion to go into executive session and have some issues.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Made a motion to go into executive session to discuss some issues. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
No.
Aye.
I vote aye.
Okay. It's a 2-2 tie, vote aye. Move to executive session. We will be back shortly.
Mr. Gaines, before y'all get started, could I clarify something real quick? I apologize, but when you called for executive session, I didn't hear the motion except for that y'all were going to discuss issues. And it's my understanding by OCGA 5014 that it has to be clearly stated openly in public if y'all are meeting in executive session either for personnel or for attorney-client privilege. So could you please clarify that?
It was for personnel.
Thank you.
And actually, it was for both.
Okay, thank you.
Come back to order. Nancy, do you have anything you'd like to say?
Mr. Chairman, we have a paper before you from Public Works dealing with their compactor. We rented that compactor beginning in March with the expectation of paying it off around July, but the money was not appropriated with budget cuts. So Mr. Mayor has asked that we put that piece of equipment on the splash fund so that he can continue to use it, because he's using it now on the pavement projects that they're done. The company has asked that either we make some other payment arrangements or they would like for us to turn the piece of equipment back in. Because the equipment, very much needed. Like I said, otherwise we won't be able to do any more paving or pothole patches in a large degree. So his request is that we transfer that contract to a rent-to-own contract, and it will last for 12 months before we are able to pay it off. We are paying $3,000 a month now for the lease payment. The rental payment will be $3,064 a month until the duration of that contract.
Okay, so your motion is to move it to a rental purchase, is that correct?
That is correct.
Do I hear a second?
Second that motion.
Okay, all in favor? Mr. Bidley, did you vote?
Yes.
Okay. That's a full vote. Matt, is that all you have?
Yes, that's
Mr. Chairman? Okay. Mr. Matt, do you have anything? Opposed?
Mr. Chairman, at the last board meeting when Mr. Shabbat was there, I told him that we would have an answer tonight on the reason for this equipment getting purchased. I have two witnesses out here tonight that I want to bring up here, and I want them to tell the board and tell the public what happened. That's Mr. Ray Salter and John Gregg.
My understanding after the last meeting, after that went down, the issue sort of was that, we got caught not doing our jobs. You know, that's one thing I can give accreditation on, the guys at the fire department do their job and do it well, along with everything else. Whenever this took place in this meeting, Chairman called me and you spoke, and the gear issue, from you was that we're in a budget tight, and the free gear from New Jersey is better than buying gear. Okay, whenever me and you spoke, you asked me last week on September 5th, afternoon you called me, you said, could you tell me who told you not to do that? I said, at the appropriate time I would. That all comes from you, Chairman. The reason the gear wasn't ordered. It was never canceled. You told me to wait on this free gear, see if we got it from New Jersey first. And then, you know, and I spoke to Attorney Miller about all these issues on all this. So the ball wasn't dropped on the fire department.
So what you're saying to us is the chairman is the one that told you not to order
We
that
was
equipment.
waiting on that free gear.
Now, I'm going to comment on this. I promised my wife I was not going to say anything, but I am not going to sit here and be accused of telling you to cancel that order. I know at the budget hearings, when that budget was talked about, and you asked the board about the gear, I told you, when we talked about it, that gear, I'd love to have that gear, but it didn't seem like that gear was coming, and the board as a whole told you to go ahead and get the proposals, and you did not get the proposals. When I talked to you on Wednesday, the 5th, I think it was,
The 4th.
the 4th,
For
okay.
13 minutes and 6 seconds.
It don't matter to me about the minutes, and it don't matter to me about the seconds. When I talked to you, I asked you, I told you to go ahead and get proposals up for the gear that we decided on tonight. Then I turned around and asked you, I said, great, what happened? What happened to that gear? Why was it not ordered? And you told me that Mr. McDonald came down, and I called Mr. McDonald Thursday night after I talked to you on Wednesday and Thursday. And I said something to him about this. Mr. McDonald said, I did not go down there and tell him to cancel that order. John Grady, you can shake your head all you want to, you wasn't on the conversation.
I'll know for a fact that Mr. McDonald did not come down there and tell us to cancel order.
He didn't, I didn't say he told you
I'm
to cancel it.
I'm just agreeing with what you said.
I did not say.
I'm agreeing with what you said, Mr. Chairman.
Ray Salter told me that Mr. McDonald came down there and said that instead of coming through the fire department, it had come through him since he was chairman of the fire committee. And I said, that's fine. But I also told Ray, no one commissioner could cancel the order that had been told to take place by this whole board. And I'm not going to sit here and be accused of telling you, Ray Salter, to cancel that order, because I didn't tell you to cancel
It's
that
not
order.
accused, it's the truth.
I did not tell you to cancel that order.
I said, Monday, you told me to call you. You told me to call you Monday. I called you that Monday, y'all went out of town. You said you don't know about the gear. Then you told me to call you about that Thursday. I called you about that Thursday about that New Jersey gear, and you wouldn't give me an answer. You told me to wait till you got an answer and let you get New Jersey
That
gear.
is not true. If it was
Okay.
after that board meeting that we had,
It was
the
after the
budget,
board meeting.
you were told to go ahead and get the proposals. You were told to do it. I didn't tell you to cancel no order.
You told me
You'd
to wait.
stand up there and tell me till the cows come home, Ray.
Your exact words was not cancel the order. Your exact words was to hold up and to see if the other
I
commissioners.
did not say hold up on the order.
I talked to you twice myself about it.
I did not tell you to hold up on that order. You know, I'm tired of this stuff.
Attorney Miller, did I not contact you about this?
You told me you've been asked to send a message to the commissioner about cancel the order, and I told you to tell the truth. If you
Yes, sir.
said anything, tell the truth. That's exactly what I told
Mr.
you.
McDonald, is that not what we talked about?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
But I did not tell you to cancel that order.
Well,
Boy, I tell you, it's hanging high night tonight, folks, I tell you.
like I said, is that it? True.
That's a lie.
Mr. Grady, you have something you want to say?
I did want to address the board. As y'all know, I did go to my trip to my committee, a training mission. And I want to thank the board for giving me the opportunity to go. It was a great experience for me and a great experience for great enlightenment on what we do good here, the good that comes out all over the world. We can step back into a third world country. Like I said, I want to thank y'all for giving me the opportunity to go, giving me the permission to go. And I was also wanted to clear up some things that there was no overtime used by me taking off. I used 96 hours of my own vacation, and I filled my 96 hours with part-time employees, and there was no overtime whatsoever by me going on this trip. just wanted to clear that up. I heard there was, needed to be a documentation on exactly how much overtime it cost for me to go. It did not cost anything, it was my own vacation, and I covered the part-time employees. Thank y'all.
Well, Mr. Chairman, my next thing is we always have tire day in Worth County. Last year, I think we did a day and a half, didn't we, really?
We did, I believe, Friday.
Friday and Saturday morning.
And
We did
Saturday
Friday
morning.
and Saturday
to
morning.
lunch, right.
And I haven't got a calendar. Have you got a calendar? Well, we always do it in October. We need to look at it on Friday and Saturday in October.
Friday, October the 25th, Saturday, October 26th.
What about Thursday?
Thursday's the 13th, early,
It's time to
that's a
advertise.
Sunday. Got the 11th and the 12th, and
Let's do it later because we're pushed for advertising. Because it needs to go in next week's paper and then the next. That'll give 2 issues to go on.
Oh, I only got 2 open weekends in October that the community is not involved in. That's the first weekend in the back. You have the peanut picking yard sale, and then you also have the peanut festival. Those back-to-back weekends.
You know, if we do it like the weekend of the 26th, then that gives, if we do that Friday and Saturday, that gives me an advertisement in the paper. That's what I'm saying to everybody. So what's that weekend, the 25th, Friday?
the 25th and the 26th.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I want to make a motion that we do the tire day on October the 25th and till lunchtime on the 26th.
I've got a comment. I know last year I talked with Ms. Laverne about the cost of this thing. And it cost $12,000 last year. We had $7,500 in the budget. My question is, how are we going to take up the difference if it costs the same thing again this year?
Everybody keep their tire taken, leave cleaning the tires, that's what you do.
Well, we're gonna have to, because, I mean, we got $7,500 in the budget, and last year was over $12,000 that we paid for tires. And with the budget like it is this year, I think we need to stay within the budget. When $7,500 is used, I think that's where we need to stop at. I mean, tire day's fine. I mean, it takes care of a lot of tires, but I think we need to control the cost. I mean, stay within the budget.
Because I had some questions last year, because I saw trailers with tires coming down. And this does not include commercial tires. This is just home and farm tires.
That's what I would say. I would control the cost of $7,500. That's what's budgeted. And, you know, with the weight that gets in at $7,500, I think that's what we need to stop at. And go from there.
I don't have a problem with it.
I'll second for discussion. The way this thing came about, our people at Public Works have gone out numerous times and picked tires upside the roadways, highways, county road, not state routes, and dirt roads, and things like that. And that's a tremendous cost paying someone to do that when you can allow some of the people that have these success tires to bring in and dispose of them like that. Of course, I realize money is money. We cannot, and no one can spend what they don't have. So I have no problem with the limit putting on it. We used to put limits on it, but if you feel like that needs to, that'd be fine with me.
Do you want to change your motion to limit the number of tires at $7,500?
How much weight? I wonder how much weight that is.
No idea. How much does it cost to
I
put on tires?
will change my motion to say that when they go across the scale out there, that when we get to the $7,500, which is in the budget, that is cut off right there. Thank y'all. That's my motion.
Okay, okay. Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, all in favor?
I put it in that advertising, first come, first served. Early bird to get the worm. Gotta rise and shine.
Mr. Chairman, my other thing is 911, I brought it up at the last meeting about turning it over to the sheriff's office. And I'm assuming that we're looking for savings. We know that there's a $40,000 saving off the top there. I'm fixing to make a motion that we turn it over to the sheriff's office.
Is there a second? There is no second. Motion dies. Mr. McDonald?
I have one thing, we voted back, I believe, on July the 25th, and unanimous that we send out let me stand up so everyone can hear, a bid proposal for paving on Carlton Road. We've had some problems with that. This past Thursday, I talked with Matthew Inman, and for whatever reason, I can't say it, I don't truly know, but he said, as you commissioner of that district, if you tell me to run the ad, to get the ad in there, I've got it all worked up, I'll do it. And I said, well, that's what we need to do. Later on, the clerk called me back, Ms. Renee, and she had contacted, Matthew contacted her. She contacted Ms. Partnow there with Sylvester Local, and there was no room. It had all been spaced out or laid out or something.
It was past the deadline, Mr. Bill.
To get it under the legal section. Well, our attorney was in court, and of course I rely on what she says is also. And it would have been useless to have spent the money to put it in place under the legal advertisements. And that's the reason that it didn't get out. I felt very confident up front that we had it going, but due to things beyond a lot of our control, no one to blame. But it will be going out, and if we have to vote again tonight, I'll make a motion tonight to do it again, because it's way, way past time. That things like this be followed up on and be followed through.
Mr. Chairman, can I say something? Yes, ma'am. The vote was made on July 18th. I looked it up. I know when the vote was made, and it was unanimous on the board.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Let's move on to the consent docket. Conover Foods is requesting the use of the Worth County Community Center at a reduced rate on October the 6th and 7th for a training seminar for employees. What's the will of the board?
Well, Chairman, I make a motion, under a lot of the locals and things in the hospital and on, we don't make any money off of them, but we charge our costs of them using that. They, one of our biggest, or almost our only cent here in the county, is fortunate as Worth County being a peanut capital of the world, and peanuts being our #1 money crop here, and them here to process and carry on that, I think it would only be proper and fitting to accommodate them with
Okay, and what we talked about is a reduced rate.
that. Like we did the others, just for the cost of the electricity, a cleanup, a deposit for cleanup, and if they don't clean up, then we keep that.
$200 each road, $200 for.
200 and 200, I believe,
for the,
$400.
That works.
But they get 200 back if they clean it up as good as they found it.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Make that a motion. Okay, all in favor? Okay. Chamber of Commerce would like to use the Worth County Community Center on October 14th for the 4th city elections. They are requesting a total waiver of fees. Do I hear a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we offer it to them, but it will be under the same status as ConAgra or anyone else. I don't see that the taxpayer should, Worth County should pick up, pay the light bill and be responsible for cleanup if they fail to do it.
Okay, all in favor? What's your vote, Mr. Bennett? What's your vote, Mr. Bennett?
I vote yes.
Okay, it's a 3-1 vote. Chamber of Commerce is requesting the use of the Worth County Community Center for January 30th, 2014 for the Chamber Annual Dinner. That's honored until the first day of the new year.
Mr. Chairman, we don't need to.
Okay.
We've never gone into that kind of stuff before until New Year's.
Okay. We'll consider that. Building and sign, replace the sign in front of the building and an additional sign to be attached to the side of the building. Like y'all all have 3 quotes.
Which color is that?
Yellow. Okay, we have 3 prices. One is $160, custom cut signs and graphics, $575 from Christie's Signs, and $375 from Art Spears Pro Line Striping.
36. That's a no-brainer, right?
Right. 160.
Cut is 160.
Right. Have a motion?
Is he getting his budget?
Should be in, hopefully it's inside his budget.
He's very
It's in his budget, Laverne.
Got budget, Vern?
That would be a building and ground item.
So it comes out of buildings and grounds. It comes out of buildings and grounds.
Yeah, no whether that is buildings and grounds or buildings.
Okay, we have a motion. A second. All in favor? You vote aye. Okay, County Clerk Renee Whitby, E91 Director Anita Clements request approval to attend an Open Records Act training session in Camilla, Georgia, on October 31st.
Make a motion.
Is there a second? All in favor? Doug Hughes suggested that a sign be placed outside the courthouse directing people to the various county offices. His concern is that the people will not obtain, come and pay fines so that the sheriff's office and carry on other county business have difficulty finding these offices.
We got personnel right there on security when we come through. They asked me.
Yes, he feels there needs to be a sign out front showing the Kingdom office and talked to me about it. Said that he had directed some people to where the sheriff's office were and so forth. And we can just,
They gotta come through security to get in.
I agree with you. agree with you, he's got to sign up this his front door. So, you want me to bring this up before the board? I have. So, no action taken. Okay, the Sheriff's Department acknowledge reclassification of Edward Billington effective date 9/9/13, and acknowledge resignation of Chad Wentworth effective 9/25/13. Public Works acknowledge new hire Donald Jackson effective date 9/9/13, acknowledge notification of new hire Marvin Shear effective date 9/9/13.
Mr. Chairman, I got a problem with this right here. It has to be action by the board. Constitutional officers, we just acknowledge. When it comes to our department, department people, we have to actually hire. Am I correct, Mr. Clement?
Yes.
They already been hired. They will hire again. Mr. Chairman, my position is that they've already been hired, they're on the job, they're working. I don't see any point in going back through a motion to hire or deny.
We'll move forward to landfill considerations. Joseph Smith, age 65, with an annual income of $14,220, and Johnny Walker, senior, age 65 and up, annual income of $10,983, has requested a reduction in their rates going to the landfill.
Mr. Chairman, we have an ordinance on the books. If your income is $15,000 or less, then they get this. I got no question to do it.
Okay, we have a second. All in favor? Aye. Mr. Miller, do you have anything?
Mr. Chairman, I asked the clerk to copy and pass out these commissioner communications I have from Trinity Insurance. That is a service agent for our liability insurance carrier. And it's rather detailed and more time than I wish to make up at a meeting. But I would recommend that you all study that thing. Basically what it amounts to is they negotiated a settlement figure, this case in federal court. They want us to pay half of it. And I question their authority to do that, but it is somewhat detailed, and I suggest you familiarize yourself with those communications, and then I'll confer with you all later about your decision on the matter. It's not something you can do on spur of the moment.
Is this where we agreed to pay $5,000?
That's a different one. Now, this is a new one.
Okay.
This is on that Sims, the former tax assessor.
Okay.
That's all I had.
Okay, all right.
Now, if you don't have anything else, Mr. Chairman, I'm going to have to be excused. I need to go attend some personal chores.
Okay. Okay, under announcements, the next scheduled Board of Commissioners meeting will be held on Tuesday, October 1, 2013 at 9 a.m. on the third floor of the courthouse. At that same meeting, we will hold a public hearing to answer any questions and or concerns regarding the CDBG block grant for the George Road project. This public hearing will be held following the call to order of preliminary matters of the regular board meeting. Bob Robertson of Bob Robertson and Associates, the grant administrator, will be present to answer questions and concerns. Under item 3, the board and Renee Whitby are scheduled to go to the ACCG 2013 Legislative Leadership Conference in Athens. This is a conflict with our next board meeting and the public meeting, and I think it's consensus understand from the board that we cancel this training, and if it's in agreement with the board, do we need a vote on this, or just a consensus? Okay.
Mr. Chairman, that's with the exception of the clerk.
Okay. Renee is, Ms. Whitby has training at that, and she will be attending that meeting. And item 4 is Worth County Health Department will be hosting its third annual drive-through flu shot clinic on October the 3rd from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Ag Pavilion. The county clerks have been asked to participate in this event. That's it. We'll have here a motion to adjourn. A second. All in favor? We are adjourned.
Well, I guess he's still the chairman then.